The African National Congress chairperson, Gwede Mantashe, has warned those who intend to disrupt the party's upcoming January 8 celebrations in Bloemfontein in the Free State, saying that they will be dealt with harshly. The ANC is expected to hold its 111th birthday celebrations at its birthplace. Meanwhile, the Secretary General Fikile Mbalula insists the party received assurances from the Mangaung Municipality that the Dr. Rantlai Petrus Molemela Stadium can host the celebrations. This after a leaked December letter from the Mangaung City Manager stating that the stadium had several defects that could render it non-compliant. To help us unpack these and other issues related to the ruling party, we're now joined via Zoom by Political Analyst Sandile Swana. Mr. Swana, very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning to you, Simpo, and your viewers.
Now, first of all, Mr. Swana, have you got a sense of which direction the ANC will be pulling towards since its conference last month?
Yes, I expect the January 8 statement, which gives direction of the ANC, that it will be the same as last year. The issues that they promised to deal with last year, they have not dealt with. They are still pending. The issues of renewing the organization, creating credible branches and creating credible members and credible systems and credible funding mechanisms for the ANC, a capable state, a social compact, and a credible economic development plan for the country. So I expect them to talk about those things, but as you correctly point out, they've chosen a city where the ANC is divided with two parallel structures, others under Manyoni, others under Sionzana. The ANC is still divided, and Gwede Mantashe is there as a political bouncer to make sure that anybody who starts trouble is handled.
And speaking of Mantashe, remember that he has warned those who intend to disrupt the party's upcoming January 8 celebrations in Bloemfontein, saying that they will be dealt with harshly. What does this signal then in terms of where the party is at the moment?
The party is divided. There is disgruntlement. Some of the disgruntlement is caused by the officials themselves, including Kgalema Motlanthe Mbalula, as well as Mantashe himself, where in some cases they do not follow the ANC constitution. For instance, you'll find that some people on the ballot paper can still be removed if they make certain decisions, if the NEC or the conference makes certain decisions about those people. So there is divisions that stem from the fact that the branches of the ANC are not what they should be. They are disorganized. The members, the average member of the ANC is actually an ANC member in uniform only. The Freedom Charter is not in the hearts of these people who wear ANC uniforms. The constitution of the ANC is not in their hearts. The program of the ANC is not in their hearts. So it's an organization that is starting at the bottom, really. It's in disarray.
What then should we read into ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula saying that the Phala saga won't be discussed at the conclusion of the party's national conference this week?
What we should read into that is that Cyril Ramaphosa is now Zuma version 2, whereby malfeasance is covered up by the NEC of the African National Congress, where they tell the nation that you may have noticed that our president has done something wrong, but you as the nation, you're going to have nothing to do with this. You're not going to say anything, and we're not going to give you a chance, and we ourselves are not going to discipline our own president. So basically, Mantashe is excluding us as the citizens of this country, Mbalula in this case, from actually attending to the matter of the misdeeds of the president of the African National Congress. The issue is a national issue. Phala is a major, major issue that Mbalula has chosen to put under the carpet. And because it is the size of an elephant, it is bulging in a significant way under the carpet.
I would imagine the reasoning they would give is that the parliament decided not to adopt the Phala report.
The issue of saying Parliament decided that is unfortunate. Whilst it may be legally true, but in reality it is not true, because the people who actually voted in Parliament using parliamentary majority was the African National Congress, acting on strict instructions that anyone who deviates from that, from voting in favor, by voting in favor of the impeachment process to continue in favor of the Section 89 report, that person would be put through a disciplinary process. We expect that during January and February, those who deviated, such as Zuma, will be actually put through a disciplinary. The 11 opposition parties had already agreed ahead of time that the impeachment process must continue. So it is, to a degree, an unfair representation to lump those opposition parties together with the ANC, which is being railroaded by Mantashe and Mbalula to actually protect the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, at all costs.
We know the conference had not finalized decisions on policy resolutions and constitutional amendments in December, but what are some of the major ones that need to be honed in by the party on Thursday and Friday?
I think that there are probably, for you and me, there are just two issues that need attention. One is the economy. As we know that the ANC, at least since the last conference in 2017, and more seriously, if you add the 9 wasted years, then you can go back to 2009, that the ANC has not had a credible economic plan to redevelop the economy of South Africa in the post-2008 era. That has not happened. So that is an issue they need to attend to. They have not been able to attend to that. As part of that, they promised us last year already in the same January 8 statement that they would launch a social compact whereby every sector of society, including business, the unions, and the state, could then say these are the actions and these are the budgets we are going to put in to redevelop the economy. We expect them to say what they are going to do about that. We also expect them to start saying when are they going to finish with load shedding. So on the one hand, load shedding is going to be a big issue. The other one is the economy. The other issues of gender and other issues, I don't think that the public is looking at them that much. These are the two issues that people are looking at to see that there's a solution around those.
And does it mean that the party was so focused on lobbying that it even neglected the fine-tuning the policies of the party?
I think that, there's a problem, and Thabo Mbeki did raise this problem, because if Cyril Ramaphosa said in January 8 last year that is going to have a social compact, and business actually has prepared comprehensive documents of what their contribution is going to be, and in the strategy document they've prepared to say this is how they think the economy should be rebuilt. The government of the ANC under the leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC itself has not been able to produce comparable documents. And thus there's no agreement. There's nothing for people to commit to. So there's a degree of incompetence, there's a degree of dereliction of duty, whether it was caused by lobbying or just the fact that when we have an ANC government, which is what we've been experiencing, a lot of the time is spent pursuing corrupt activities rather than doing the regular job that a person who's put in office, whether in the NEC, in the top 6 or in cabinet. Those jobs never really get done. So whatever it is, it's not just the lobbying, it is the corruption, the incompetence, as well as non-performance, or what you might even call laziness, that has characterized the government of the ANC since the Polokwane conference.
Mr. Swana, can you even have a conversation about the 111th anniversary of the ANC on Sunday and the January 8 statement, of course, without talking about factions in the party?
No, it is not possible. Unfortunately, I think at a certain point, the ANC lost sight of the issue that in the nation as a whole, probably the GDP of the country needed to grow by probably 300% to double or to treble in size for the citizens of the country to start benefiting in the manner that they should in the economy. Now, the ANC members, because they've not been able over time to actually grow the GDP of the country, they are fighting over a shrinking cake, and the cake is shrinking. As they continue to fight, the cake is shrinking and the fights are becoming more bitter. Murders are kicking in, political assassinations are kicking in. So it's going to get worse. From here, it's going to get worse for as long as the ANC remains in power here in the Republic of South Africa.
And what can we expect from Cyril Ramaphosa's statement on Sunday?
I think that he will change the dates of things, but the statement I expected to be identical to the statement he delivered last year. For instance, in the opening remarks of the statement last year, he talked about the parliament building that had burnt down. That parliament building, in as far as I'm aware, has not been reinstated, has not been put into good order. He spoke about the fact that they've just been beaten in the local government elections in November 2021. There's nothing that they have done to correct that situation. So he has got to say, what are we going to do for the 2024 election different from the 2021 election? At this stage, there's nothing that we can see that is different. And then he went on to talk about the economy that had been battered. The economy is battered, and we know that Cyril Ramaphosa himself, the cabinet of Cyril Ramaphosa, and the NEC of the ANC do not have a written and credible evidence-based plan to turn the economy of the South Africa around to make sure that it compares favorably with the top-performing economies on the African continent.
And I suppose it is at this time that we need to ask very tough yet pertinent questions, such as, can South Africa be better off without Cyril Ramaphosa? Can South Africa be better off without the ANC?
I think that there are cases that we need to look at very quickly, which is, for instance, when the DA put this question perhaps to the test in their own way, by saying Ramaphosa should return from his overseas trip because there was load shedding in South Africa, and indeed he did return. There was load shedding before he left South Africa. It worsened whilst he was overseas. He came back, and it has deepened since he came back to fix it. And this load shedding the preliminary work was done in 1998. When the ANC, the cabinet of Mbeki, was notified that load shedding is going to start in 2007. From 1998 until today, with the ANC undisturbed in power, all power in the hands of the ANC, has not been able to prevent load shedding in South Africa. They have not been able to fix load shedding. Till today, we don't know the date when they are going to finish with load shedding. In the economy, they started around 2005 to say they want to have a plan for South Africa, a planning system and a plan. That economic development plan of South Africa does not exist and is not about to come into existence. So you have to accept that Cyril Ramaphosa is unsuitable to be the president of this country. The ANC itself is unsuitable to govern South Africa.
And are you at all confident that in the January 8th statement, this is an opportunity to make amends with the South African public and, give them some sort of assurance that he will fix the country's woes? I mean, he's been in power for the past 3 years, and all he shares with us are plans, 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 no matter how glorious those plans can be. But the question is, can they translate into action?
You will remember that when Cyril Ramaphosa was brought into the presidency in 2012, we were told that he's a multi-billionaire businessman. He's hooked up to the investors and this and the other thing. And once he gets into power, the economy is going to be on steroids. From 2012, when Cyril Ramaphosa entered the presidency, the economy started declining. It was declining already before him. It declined at a faster rate. Then he became state president in his own right. Then things worsened even faster. The Cyril Ramaphosa presidency is potentially one of the worst since 1910, the formation of the Union of South Africa. I think his record of poor performance is going to be hard to beat.
And what do you make of how the party has handled the very public spat between, the ANC leader, Cyril Ramaphosa, and the former leader, Jacob Zuma?
The issue of the spat is unfortunate because Jacob Zuma's conflict really with the president of the ANC and the ANC itself is misplaced, because Jacob Zuma has been in conflict with the law since the Mbeki presidency. He has got criminal charges that are pending against him. The mistake that the ANC made, led by Kgalema Motlanthe, was to protect Jacob Zuma from facing the courts and facing the full might of the law back in 2005, right to 2009, when he became state president, when he should not have become state president. So the problems between the state and Jacob Zuma are now personal problems between Cyril Ramaphosa and Jacob Zuma, because Kgalema Motlanthe, Gwede, Mantashe, Lindwe Sisulu, Mwako Ramatloti, all that group were the ones who used the infrastructure of the ANC to protect Jacob Zuma from the just consequences of his criminal activities. Now he's demanding that Cyril must just extinguish his cases, his criminal cases, which he needs to answer in court, not in the ANC.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has been at the helm of the party for the past 5 years now, and when he assumed the position of president in 2017, he preached the gospel of renewal. 5 years later, the party is still divided more than ever. So do you get a sense that his renewal project has failed, or has hit a snag?
Yes, if our country was a performance-oriented country, performance-oriented culture and nation, Cyril Ramaphosa, on his own accord, he would have resigned. Because the tasks that he's struggling from are basic. He cannot get the ANC to form proper branches. In 5 years, he can't get branch by branch to be a proper branch of the ANC. He cannot get those who do not qualify to be members of the ANC to be removed from the ANC, so that proper members of the ANC. He cannot get the ANC properly funded without relying on criminal sources of funding. So the renewal program, on the basis of the fact that, for instance, they could not really run a proper conference, and the conference had to be extended, which I think is another record in the democratic era of failure. He set a new record of failure. So the whole renewal process under the leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa at the helm has actually failed. And I don't see any prospect of it succeeding in the near future.
All right, Mr. Swana, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for sharing your analysis and your thoughts with us. We do appreciate your time.